Resistant starch is a form of starch, a polysaccharide, which is finding enormous applications in the food industry. Let us look at the various applications of resistant starch. Starch and starch degradation products that resists digestion in the small intestine of healthy individuals is what is called as a resistant starch. This functions like soluble fiber. Looking at the definition of resistant starch, it is that starch molecule that escapes digestion in the small intestine and it is fermented in the large intestine. So there are a number of classes of resistant starch. Type 1 is one which is physically inaccessible starch. Type 2 is resistant starch granules and also has high amylose content. Type 3 is retrograde starch and type 4 is a chemically modified starches. Now, description of each of these types of resistant starches and the food sources are shown in this table. RS1 is which is physically inaccessible is the whole or partially milled grains like seeds and legumes. RS2, which is the raw starch granular structure, consists of examples like raw potatoes, green bananas, some legumes and high amylose corn. Retrograded starch are cooked and cooled foods, bread, pasta and potatoes. Chemically modified starches are those which are used in bread and cakes. And finally, the starch lipid complex, which is amylose containing starch. So all these are the kinds of examples. Several types of resistant starch can be present within the same food depending on how it is prepared. For example, the type 1 starch resists digestion because it is bound within the fibrous walls. That is the fibrous cell walls. Sources, as we already saw, grains, seeds and legumes. Type 2 can be found in raw potatoes and green, that is the unripe bananas. Type 3 is formed when certain starchy foods are cooked and then they are cooled. The cooling in turn turns some of the digestible starches into resistant starches via retrogradation. The type 4 is man-made and formed via a chemical process. So the benefits of resistant starch is shown as low as 10 grams. There is a healthy eating and general wellness. When moderate amounts of 10 to 15 grams is consumed regularly, there is satiety and also a fat burning function. Insulin sensitivity, anti-inflammation, intestinal health and other metabolic benefits occur when resistant starch is consumed at high levels of 20 to 35 grams. There are two plant-based sources in foods as well as in supplements. In foods, it is green banana, beans, peas, intact whole grains, cooked and cooled potatoes, rice and pasta. Supplements, green banana flour, that is the processed food products, raw potato starch, high amylose and cornstarch. The four main types of resistant starch: RS1, unmilled, partially milled whole grains and seeds; RS2, unripe bananas, cooked potatoes, high amylose maize; RS3, cooked and cooled rice, pasta, potatoes; and RS4, artificially and chemically modified starch. Starch and dietary fiber which is found in food ultimately breaks down to fructans and fructooligosaccharides, which then undergoes bacterial fermentation to further break down into short chain fatty acids, acetate, propionate and butyrate. In turn, at appropriate pH, they have a prebiotic effect. Looking at the various kinds of functions or benefits that these resistant starch provides, it regulates blood sugar levels, it promotes gut health, it prevents cancer and assists in weight management, which all of them are very important to have a good healthy lifestyle as well as a longevity. 8 natural benefits of starch, resistant starch, including it boosts gut health, increases mineral absorption, lowers glucose levels, promotes weight loss, curbs cravings, improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation of the bones, and lowers the risk of collateral cancer. These are the best sources of resistant starch: pulses or lentils, white rice, green banana, legumes, and sweet potatoes. I have shown here the different types of or the sources of resistant starch along with the quantity or present in each one of the